Hey everyone, and welcome back to Zero Escape 999, where last time we got some incredibly huge and shocking news out of Clover. The man who died behind door 3 apparently can't have been Snake. According to Clover, the fact that the man who blew up had bones in his left arm means it cannot be Snake. So I suppose that means Snake had a prosthetic of some sort? Interesting indeed. I'm not so curious about the prosthetic, but I am very glad to know that this means Snake is alive. Where he is an open question. He has been missing since after our first set of doors. But this means he never died. In any of the routes. He's been alive the whole time. So then, today, we're going to go ahead and finish up and get out of the captain's quarters now that we can actually begin working in here. Got a set of tools. Anything in the drawers. We got some ink. We remember what the ink is for and what the screws are for and what everything is for. We've done this before. No, don't worry about the headphones. Don't worry about the cable. I'm trying to zoom in on an early telecommunications device. Most likely used to transmit a radio signal of some sort. I experimented with it earlier, but to no avail. I imagine it's broken. Okay, fine, don't let me zoom in. How about over here? We've got... Hey, what's this? It's blank, there's nothing written on it. Alright, there's the paper, still need the music box. How am I gonna zoom in on you? It looks as though that drawer is the only thing that's locked. I don't see a keyhole though. An electric lock perhaps? Take a look at the left side of the drawer. Yeah, there's some cables over there. That must mean... Yeah, I'm trying to change the camera angle a little bit. I want to look at the right side of the desk. Please? It's really, really fighting me, isn't it? No. Please? It is refusing to let me look at that middle portion of the desk. Please? A chair? I don't understand. I simply do not understand. Well then, that's rude. Well, what do we have so far? I still need the music box. Might it be in the other room? Junpei, what are you doing? We've searched the wheelhouse from top to bottom. There's no reason to go back. Oh, that's the wheelhouse. Okay, fine. I'll head back to the captain's quarters. That's where I was trying to go, but I misclicked. Okay, the music box was over here, not in the other room. Got it. And then we still do need to grab this chart, though it's not entirely necessary since we do know what it means. What's the deal with this? Is it some kind of code? There are 4 rows of numbers and letters. They all start with a 0 and with 8 F, N, or V respectively. Maybe this has something to do with number bases. We already know this, but thank you, Junpei. Okay, we got the music box. That's the important thing I was looking for. Thought it was in the communications room, but I suppose not. Alright, let's unscrew it. Put the ink on the cylinder and transfer the notes over to the paper. And now we should be able to, thank you, use the telegraph. Alright, I've got the Morse code I'm supposed to enter. If I do this right, something will happen. I hope. Alright, let's give this a shot. Exactly the same as we did before. A bit sad that this is not actual Morse code, at least according to the translator I used. Who knows, maybe it was just a bad translator. That's the last one, and yes! Excellent work, Junpei, good job. You seem to have figured it out. You've unlocked the drawer. Alright, now let's check what's inside. We know what's in here, and now we have a bit more context for it. A red file lay in the drawer. Junpei reached down and picked it up. The cover read, Alice, all ice. Alice. Did that mean? Junpei couldn't hold back. He had to know what was in that file. Each page was covered with strange characters. They looked like tiny drawings of birds, snakes, insects, horned animals, wings, even kneeling humans. There were many pages on the file and each was full of these strange symbols. What the hell is this? He didn't realize he'd spoken out loud until Ace looked over at him. They are hieroglyphs, a form of writing used in ancient Egypt. Ancient Egypt? That's right. Can you read them? Of course. I can't. What would make you think I could? What the hell? Junpei flipped through a few more pages. It wasn't just one or two pages that were covered in the strange symbols. Every single page was covered in them. Trying to read them was pointless. Junpei wasn't going to waste any more time with them. He made to close the file, and something fell out. He bent down and picked it up. A keycard. There was a symbol on it that reminded Junpei of the symbols for the Saturn and Mercury keycards. This one, however, had a dot in the center of the male symbol. Uranus. That's the Uranus symbol. Junpei looked over to see Ace examining the card. In addition to the Uranus symbol, there were 3 words engraved on the card as well. On the lower right it read, Bottom Deck Library. This must be a key to the library on the bottom deck. So it would seem. The bottom deck. The library. Junpei remembered something he'd heard from Seven when they'd been in the chemical closet. Alice sleeps in the small chamber past the forest of knowledge, beneath the navel of the gigantic, not Titanic. Did beneath the navel mean the bottom deck? Did forest of knowledge mean the library? If it did, then Alice was in a room somewhere beyond the library? What's wrong? Junpei blinked, only then did he notice Ace looking at him, curiosity and concern written across his face in equal parts. There was no reason for Junpei to hide his thoughts. He began to explain his theory to Ace. Then he stopped. It wouldn't make any sense if Ace didn't know who Alice was supposed to be. So he told Ace everything June had told him. About the Egyptian priestess, about Ice 9. And finally, about the woman who wouldn't melt who had been recovered from the Titanic disaster. He told him about how she had been called All Ice, which had eventually turned to Alice, and how she had been purchased by an English millionaire who called himself Lord Gordain. And how Gordain had hid Alice somewhere on the ship. And you think that he hid her in a small room beyond the library on the bottom deck. Yeah, well, I mean, I guess so. I see. Ace stared off into the distance, his hand slowly and absent-mindedly stroking his beard. After a few moments, his hand stopped. He turned slowly to look at Junpei, and his brows drew together. Junpei, have you ever heard of the term CAS? CAS? It stands for Cells Alive System. It is an advanced technology for freezing and preserving organic matter. That is not how CAS is known in the real world anymore, but this was written before CAS 9 was developed, which I believe is a technology using the body's own systems to modify DNA in order to inject changes to DNA, for like gene modification. CAS may have actually been around at the time that this game was written, but maybe not as well known. But interesting that it is a similar acronym. Put simply, it is a technique that allows one to freeze things without the formation of ice crystals. Normally, if you freeze something fresh, water within its cells expand as it crystallizes, damaging the cell membrane. CAS, however, works differently. The object to be frozen is supercooled using magnetic fields, and then frozen instantly and uniformly, giving ice crystals no time to form. It was originally developed for the preservation of food as an alternative to the normal freezing procedure. Now, however, there are rumors that it can be used for other things. What do you mean, other things? Well, there are obvious medical uses, but perhaps also space travel. Space travel? Are you serious? Surely you've heard of suspended animation, cryogenic freezing. It's a fairly common idea in science fiction books and films. People are sometimes frozen for especially lengthy journeys through space. That was when Junpei understood what Ace was suggesting. Whoa, wait a minute there. Ace looked at him and raised an eyebrow. Are you saying that Alice was frozen using that CAS thing? Well, I'm sure the possibility is quite low, but it is a possibility. If the special ice you call Ice 9 does indeed exist, and if CAS were used to freeze her into that sort of ice instantaneously, You think she could be alive? Well, I can't say for sure, of course. I'm only talking about possibilities. The melting point for Ice Nine is 96 degrees, right? If she were put somewhere where she could reach that temperature, that's nuts. Are you really saying she could have defrosted and started walking about? You're quite right, it does sound unbelievable. But if she had, then we would have found an explanation for the dead man we found dead on the floor. You mean the guy dressed like a captain? You're saying you think this Alice killed him? Yes. He was dead when we found him. Clearly he was murdered. But if he was murdered, then by who? It couldn't have been one of us. That would be impossible. In order to enter the captain's quarters, one must first open door 1. That door requires the earth key, prevented us from accessing door 1. Who was it that opened that door? Santa and Lotus. Right. Clearly, the two of them could not have opened door 1, or any other door for that matter. Who else, then, could have done so? Junpei thought for a second. No, nobody. After Santa and Lotus had used the Earth Key, they turned back and met up with Junpei and June, who had just returned from EDAC. The four of them proceeded to return to the large hospital room to reunite with Ace, 7, and Clover. When Junpei and his team had gone into the shower room, Ace, 7, and Clover had been left in the large hospital room, but they would have been unable to open door 1. Perhaps when Junpei and June had taken the elevator to door 2 then. No, that would have been impossible. They had only been gone 5 minutes. No human being could have run to the captain's quarters, killed the man in there, and run back in 5 minutes. It would be impossible for any of us to be the murderer. That being the case, who could have killed him? Wouldn't it make sense if his killer was someone who had been in the ship for some time? They could potentially know the secrets of the ship, maybe secret paths for getting around. A person like that would know the ship well. They would know the locations of all the hidden passages and secret doors. The numbered doors would mean nothing to someone like that. It would be a simple thing for them to enter the captain's quarters. Then you're saying the killer was Alice. It was Junpei's turn to raise an eyebrow. It's funny, I have a friend named Alice who might actually be watching this Let's Play. Hi, Alice. And I got her, I think I was the one who got her into these games. She started playing them not too long after I did, if I remember correctly. So, it was very funny seeing her get to this point. It was very funny indeed. Ace drew his thumb across his lips thoughtfully. Well, this is all only one possible theory. All eyes. Alice. Was Alice indeed somewhere on the ship with them? Junpei had only one clue. The key card in his hand. It would, he hoped, grant him access to the Forest of Knowledge. But beyond that, what waited for him beyond the Forest of Knowledge? Whatever might be there, however, would have to wait. At the moment, there was nothing Junpei could do. He gripped the keycard tighter and shoved it deep into his pocket. Okay, and so we've learned a lot about Alice. Well, perhaps nothing new, but we do have more pieces fitting together. The Uranus card, and the possibility that Alice is the one who's been going around killing people. A terrifying prospect, and I can't conceive of her motive, what it would be. Perhaps terror at being woken up on a boat after however many years, thousands? It has to be at least 1,000, 2,000. Just terror and disorientation and feeling under threat? But then, that still is so bizarre. Why would your first response be to kill people? I suppose we'll have to figure it out. Okay, so the password is 0. Let me see if I can find in my notes where I wrote down the translation for that, just so I don't have to redo the translation. Where are you? 0, 0, 0, 35, 14, 27, 24. Got it. Alright, in goes the key. Maybe the key I got earlier. Sweet, just had to put that key in and now it's on. Junpei, look! There's a minus sign on the screen. There are 8 of them. That probably means we've got to put in the 8 digits. Do you think you can figure it out? Well, I've got the answer right here, Clover, don't worry. 8 digits, huh? Once I put in the 8-digit number, I just press E to enter it. And if I mess up, I guess I just press C. All right, let's give it a shot. 35, 14, 27, 24. Enter. Yes, it worked. Good job, Junpei. Oh, she is so excited. Excellent, you seem to have unlocked it. Good work, Junpei. All right, let's go. Then with that, slightly shorter, but that's fine. We've had quite a few important conversations recently, so I'm fine with it being a bit shorter. Next time on Zero Escape 999, we are exiting the captain's quarters, and we are going to be heading to the 9 doors, and I just realized if Snake is alive, the digital root of everyone is 9. If we can find Snake, we can go. Everyone can escape. We can do this. I'll see everyone next time for us to finally get off this ship. I'll see everyone next time for that.